engraved like a seal with the name of one of the 12 tribes. Please remember, this breastpiece is attached to your breast. Okay? On that breastpiece you have these precious gems and these stones. You know what God's desire was? Verse 29. Whenever Aaron enters the holy place, he will bear the names of the sons of Israel over his heart on the breastpiece of decision as a continuing memorial before the Lord. You know, as a symbol of the people, you have these precious stones. Where are these precious stones supposed to be? They're supposed to be on his heart. The precious stones are supposed to be over his heart. You know, unless we have the love for the people, that's symbolizing what? Heart is a place where you find the love, right? So, unless the people are on your heart, unless the people you love are on your heart, you cannot do any ministry. Who is this high priest? High priest is a mediator between the people and God. So, he is supposed to minister to the people. He is to take the requests of the people and present them to God. And such a man, when he turns to the people, how is he supposed to minister to them? It is with love and compassion, having the people on his heart. My dear brothers and sisters, may this be our prayer, that when we minister to people, that we have them on our heart. We have compassion for them. We have love for them. Because unless this love is there in our hearts, we will not be able to minister to the people at all. There is absolutely no way that you can do that. Jesus Christ is transferring the model of the high priest onto us. How did the high priest have the people, the precious stones? On his heart. Now, I want you to read one verse. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9. You all know this, right? 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 9. What does it say there? For we are what? You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, people belonging to God, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His wonderful light. Look at your qualification. You as church members have a qualification, you have a title. What is that title? But you are chosen people, a royal priesthood. So, we believe in the universal priesthood of all the believers, right? So all the believers are priests. So if the high priest had the people on his heart, what should the priest do? Same thing, right? He may not have the same dress, but the principle is the same. A priest must have the people on his heart. So therefore you and I, as the priests of God, must have the people on our heart. When we meet people in Walmart, when we meet people in a parking lot, or when we go out to pick up our mailbox, when we see some people all around, we should be able to see the need that the other person has. We should be able to have the love in our hearts to minister to those people. Okay? Now, let's talk about what lessons we need to learn. Number one thing you need to remember is, every believer has been called to minister. Every believer has been called to minister. How should we minister? That's what we read in Romans 12, the last part. Different categories where a person can do the ministry. Verse 6. We have different gifts according to the grace given us. If a man's gift is prophesying, let him use it in proportion to his faith. If it is serving, let him serve. You see? I think we get all these committees from here. I think so. Yeah? If somebody has a gift in serving, okay. If somebody has a gift in teaching, let him teach. If it is encouraging, let him encourage. If it is contributing to the needs of others, let him give generously. If it is leadership, let him govern diligently. If it is showing mercy, let him do it cheerfully. The various gifts that you have in the church. Many times what happens is, the most important thing is, the right person should do the right job. Yes or no? The right person should do the right job. My professor in the school, Dr. Garnet Pike, he was the dean. He always used to say this: the right person should be in the right bus and on the right seat. A person should be on the right bus, on the right seat. We usually stop with the right bus, but that person should be on the right seat also. He should be on the proper seat where he is assigned. See, let me tell you my example. If you ask me to do crafts, drawing or painting, you're making a very big mistake. You're making a very big mistake. God has called me for some different task. He's called me to teach. He's called me to preach. You see, He's called me to be a shepherd. So that's my calling. Now my question is, what do you know about yourself? What has God called you for? Now, we come to the church, we come for the prayer meetings, and everything is good. Very much required. But, what is your role in the church? What has He called you for? Now, do you really know what God has called you for? You must recognize your gift. Now you may say, Chandra, how can I recognize my gift? How can I recognize my gift? Now, let me tell you my testimony. When I started the ministry, I used to preach, but I never knew what my target audience was. Anybody gives me an opportunity, I would go and preach. And then slowly, some people started talking to me and said, you know what, when you spoke that day, God spoke to me. When you spoke that day, my faith was encouraged. And slowly, the people started coming and giving me feedback. And then I sat and thought about it. Lord, when I'm preaching to this kind of a crowd, I am getting more acknowledgements. So then I said, Lord, did you call me for this? Confirm it to me. Then I went with another preacher for some meetings. And we were having lunch, and after lunch we were sitting and then talking. We had some free time. We had some rest. And that's when that brother told me, Chandra, I think God has called you for this. God has called you for this particular task. And that's when I realized probably that is true. And then I started getting the confirmation from God. And this is how you will try to get the confirmation from God. Because remember, He is the one who gives the gifts. Right? He is the one who gives the gifts. And please remember one thing, He loves you enough to know what gift you need. See, for example, you need a gift. You need a gift. You love your daughter or son so much. Or you love somebody so much that you want to give a gift. When you want to give a gift, don't you think when their birthday comes, you'd be thinking, what should I give that person? Right? What should I give that person? What would you think? What would you think? I've seen this happen in my school days. When a teacher is leaving and we want to give a party and a gift, we'd all sit and discuss. And then there'd be some people who were close to the teacher who would say, no, she doesn't like green. Don't buy anything green. Yeah? She likes white. You must give that white. What do we give her? Shall we give her a purse? Shall we give her a dress? Or shall we give her what? And the people are discussing, you know what? The ones who are closest to the teacher can tell us what the teacher likes and dislikes. That is about the intimacy. Now, you and I don't have a choice. Usually, I've seen many people. They say, Lord, I want that gift. Yeah, I want that gift. Hey, hold on. That's a gift. That's a gift. Gift is always given. It is not grabbed. Right? Gift is always given to you. Does God know what is best for you and best for the church? Absolutely. Do you know what is good for you? No. I was in a prayer meeting, and there was this brother preaching about the spiritual gifts. And there was a need in my church. Need in my church. And God was preparing me all this time. I tell you what, we have an English speaker, and there would be another person who would be translating from English to the vernacular. Even when I was not active in anything, just used to play music, that is all, I used to sit there, and when the English speaker is speaking, I used to translate that into my mother tongue in my heart, within myself. Nobody knew that. There came a time when there was a need in my church that there was no translator available. I went for a meeting somewhere, and that brother was talking about the spiritual gifts. And that's when the pastor said, if God has given you a gift, if you think God has given you a gift and there is a need in the church, go and tell the pastor. And I tell you, he will oblige. He will accept you. Now look at my condition. I never studied, had my formal education in my mother tongue. I cannot even write my name, even now, in my mother tongue. And I am supposed to translate, according to what that pastor said, from English to my mother tongue. I can't even read properly. But he said, you need to go and tell the pastor. So I went and told the pastor. I said, brother, I think God is asking me to do this. And then he said, okay, let's try. And when he really put me on the stage, he was astonished and said, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. Never had a formal education in my language, in my mother tongue. But I'm standing and then translating. It was a gift from God. It was a supernatural way of, using me in that particular spot. How did it happen? God knew the need in the church. God was preparing me for all this time. And therefore, at the right time, He put me on the place and said, okay. So, by not doing what God has called you for, you know what happens? By asking God to do something for you which He has not called you for, that is nothing but covetousness. He did not call you for such and such a gift. But you say, Lord, I want that gift. What does it mean? You are overstepping into somebody's boundary. Does God like it? No. Look at what Paul and Peter and this group did. Galatians chapter 2 and verse 9. James, Peter and John, those reputed to be pillars, gave me and Barnabas the right hand of fellowship. When they recognized the grace given to me, they agreed that we should go to the Gentiles. Who's this we? Paul and his group. Right? We should go to the Gentiles, and they is what? James, Peter and John. They should go to the Jews. See the distinction? Paul went to the Gentiles, and Peter, James and John went to the Jews. Now, we know the story what happened until these people died. If you really observe, that was divine leading. Now you see Acts chapter 17, where Paul comes and discusses with these intellectuals in Greece. He is talking to these people in Athens. In chapter 17, he is talking to the people on the Mars Hill. Now, try to put Peter there and ask him to speak to this crowd. That'd be a wrong match. Is it not? Now, these people were Jews. So God said, hey, there is a task for you for the Jews. So you go to the Jews. Paul, you go to the Gentiles. Was it a good decision by God? Absolutely. Absolutely. So what we're trying to understand is, there is a task cut out for every individual in the church. And you should know what God has called you for. How do you do that? You need to ask God and ask Him, Lord, show me my gift. Tell me what you want me to do. That's what Paul kept asking. He said, Lord, let me know what I need to do. Please tell me what I need to do. So that is a very good quality. That's a very good question that you can ask God. Lord, you saved me. but I want to be a blessing to the people. You see, by having a gift and using